Good day, my brothers. You are currently riding with subconscious reprogramming expert, wise man, human experience guide, and theta healing practitioner, advanced theta healing practitioner on his way to mastery, Jordan Lundgren. The people that I make these videos for are specifically men who are ready to take the next steps to becoming the greatest version of themselves. Those awakened men who perceive the world through the eyes of truth, who understand that love is the way, who understand that we need to create a new paradigm of consciousness in order to change our world. If you are one of these men, then I am your cheat code to life. For the past 10 years, I've been on this journey of breaking generational beliefs, of healing generational trauma, of discovering the mysteries of reality and implementing them in my own life to create the change necessary to become the man who is able to sustainably live out the life of my dreams. Now, today's topic, I wanted to talk about how we are the narrators of our own realities and how important it is to not only be aware of what thoughts that you have, but in what situations you're choosing to contribute your words and in what way. So, for example, yesterday this happened. I've taken on more responsibility at my job, being the person who goes to the carpool and picks up others and, stops off at the house and picks up a couple people anyways to drive them to work. And so on the way home, we're all chatting, and one of the people bring up a guy who had just moved up back home. He had left the company and gone back home. And seeing this opportunity, there was a couple shots taken at this person. And I was then presented with the opportunity to either talk shit as well, or to say nothing at all, or to say something positive. Now, in the past, I certainly would have contributed to saying something like, oh yeah, he was a bit of a weirdo, or whatever. But instead, with this new level of awareness that I have, I decided to contribute positive things to who this person was. And as soon as I did that, it actually changed the entire remaining portion of the conversation to being on a positivity about this person. And this small instance, this one moment, and I'm going to do a full-length video on this as well, just of how your very presence of being somebody who is awakened, of being somebody who's doing the healing on themselves, your very presence, your natural state of existing around others is going to awaken them to a new level of consciousness and a new level of healing and a new positivity. And there's an example right there of one simple thing. I decided not to talk shit because it's always a choice. It's not just like I automatically started speaking positively. I knew that I had the ability to do this, and I made the choice to speak positively, and it changed the remaining conversation. Now, in a different situation, the thoughts that we have about ourselves, about our life, certain things will happen on our day-to-day. Some of these things that happen may not be what we consider to be good or in alignment with the greatest possible life for ourselves. Maybe you stub your toe and you think, why, God, why? Why the... Seriously, the other day, man, I was getting ready for work, and it was just an absolute shit show. I knocked over my jug of water, spilt it all over the floor. Didn't realize that until that it had spilled, until I stepped in it in my warmest socks that I needed to wear because it's freezing over here. So those were soaked, couldn't wear those for the day. Had to clean that up. And my time is very regimented in the mornings because, I shouldn't say mornings, in the AMs. Because I have a lot that I want to accomplish in my life, and I don't care if I have a job that's physically demanding. I have goals. I have things I want to do. So I'm up at 4 a.m. or 3:45 a.m. every single day, and I'm getting my stuff done. And anyways, that kind of thing throws a wrench into my plans. And so now I'm presented again with an opportunity. Do I want to blow up here? Do I want to get angry? Do I want to say fuck this? Do I want to because think about it. This happens. This small little thing where I now have to just allow myself to surrender to the flow of life because it has asked me to slow down. It has asked me to take a step back from being so regimented. Now that I have this opportunity, how do I want to use that opportunity to develop myself? Because this is what we're doing here, is we're building the character of our souls. So you make a decision, and that decision gets logged away in your subconscious. So do you want to abuse the situation, in turn abusing yourself, creating more of a negative energetic charge buildup that you then either have to get rid of afterwards, or maybe you don't get rid of it afterwards and it continues to build up, and then you have a few more things throughout the day that happen where you get pissed off to a level you didn't want to get pissed off at in the day. So how do you want to use that situation? Anyways, the actual circumstance I wanted to bring up was one that's happened to me before. See, it's quite an interesting thing in life. We're constantly moving in what you could call this spiral, where your soul has a certain lesson that it's here to learn. And everything in your life is going to revolve around you learning this one lesson. For example, I want to be the greatest leader I possibly can be. And because this is my life's purpose, is to lead others to the full realization of who they are, I have to become my own leader. I have to take on certain responsibilities for myself and for my life and for my family. And I have to deal with situations such as being able to communicate properly, such as being able to take a step back and actually follow, because that is the only way that we can truly guide others into their own wisdom. Yes, in the moment, say there's a situation where someone's talking about something, you can probe them with different questions to guide them to their own realization. But ultimately, you're not just speaking to them what you know to be the lesson they need to learn in that instance. You're guiding them, in a sense. You are following them as they walk the path to their own realization. Maybe just pointing out different landmarks, or maybe just pointing out different opportunities to travel down, where they then get to make a decision of, okay, well, do I want to explore a greater awareness in this moment? Anyhow, and if you want to discover this for yourself, actually, if you want to discover what your soul's purpose is for being on Earth, what you can do is imagine that you're getting onto a bus. And the fare for this bus is that you have to tell the bus driver what your purpose for being on Earth is, who you are going to become. Close your eyes for a minute. Get onto the bus. Tell the bus driver what it is that you're here to do. You go and you sit down beside somebody else, and this person asks you, so, what are you here to learn on this round of life on Earth? And you proceed to tell them, I am here to learn. And there you go, my friend. You've just discovered what your soul's purpose is. And you've just discovered, and you know what, I'm actually going to do a theta healing meditation on this, because it's so much more powerful to do this kind of stuff with theta, where you're connected to your subconscious and to the divine energy of creation. The answers just come to you like this, and there's a lot less room for you to doubt yourself, because I know that when we're still attached to, I'm probably in beta, yeah, I'm in beta right now, I can feel that I'm in beta. When you're in a different brainwave that's not either theta or delta or even gamma, it's a lot harder to actually connect with yourself, to discover those answers, if you're not truly practiced in the art of your own intuition. So anyways, there you go. There's a practice that you can do. And there's actually theta meditations on my page if you want to go and take this example of discovering your purpose and the lessons that your soul is here to learn. I'll put it in the description. You can just click on the link and then go into the theta state and ask yourself these questions. Or play out the scenario. So, the instance that has come back into the forefront of my experience is determining what is actually the priority choice. Work or my family's needs. See, it had happened once before that. I'm in a very weird situation in my life right now because I'm still in the middle of becoming the greatest version of myself. But this is the beautiful thing about, honestly, I feel like I'm contributing more value to people than anybody who is already in the position that's speaking about how they got there, because I'm actually in the middle of creating this change for my life and I'm watching it all unfold and I'm learning everything that's happening and sharing it all as it unfolds. So I'm literally with you on the journey. And I've shared, if you go to my Instagram, I've gotten a lot more personal, and I'll probably do a lot more personal stuff on here as well. But I've really opened up about everything that I've been through and my family's been through in the past year. Speaking 2024 up until now, not just starting January. Anyways, we had a lot happen to us. Long story short, we're living in 2 different cities right now. My family, my wife and my daughter are in Toronto, and I am in Parry Sound. Scratch that. Long story short, my family is in 2 different cities right now that are 2 hours and 20 minutes apart, basically. So my wife and daughter are one place, I'm in another place working. And, there was one day where my wife was really sick, and I just recently started this job. I'm only 2 months, and this would be my 3rd day, 2 months and 3 days. And she had gotten really sick, and she had asked me, and I trust my wife completely. I know for a fact that she is the person who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, which is another aspect of what my testimonial is, and validation for knowing the cheat codes to life is I have the woman of my dreams. Anyhow, she had asked me to come home because she was that sick. Can you take a day off work and come help me with our daughter, because I just can't do it. And so, all of this emotion arose inside of me of, well, fuck, I just started this job. I can't leave this job and take a day off. What will they think? Maybe I'll get fired, and all these ridiculous thoughts of having low self-worth and all of this stuff pops up, right? But look at what I was telling myself there too. The priority in my mind was that the job was more important than taking care of my family. And yes, I understand that there are bills to pay, and yes, I understand that I need to hold a job in order to stabilize my family's finances. But ultimately, if I'm working for a place that's not going to understand that, and I told them this, if I'm working in a place where they don't understand that I may need to run off to Toronto for a day or for 2 days, whatever it is, because I need to take care of my family because of the situation that we're in until we get stabilized and have our own home closer to work where that kind of thing doesn't happen. If they don't understand that, then that's not a company I want to work for anyways. You see, it's up to you. It's up to me. It's not up to my work standards whether or not I'm good enough to go and be with my family. And this is what I had to learn in this moment. And it's not like, when these things come up, it's not like you're just instantly a bad person because you thought these things. No, it's just a programming that's playing out, which creates a habituation of thought. And as you become more aware, you begin to notice what these habitual thoughts are, leading back to a belief, which you can then reprogram in your subconscious through the theta healing methods that I share on this channel. And it's so easy, man. It's so easy, guys. This is the thing, is, there's all of this talk, there's all of this philosophy, all of these modalities surrounding being able to reprogram your subconscious mind and all of this work it seems like we have to do in order to become the best version of ourselves, but it is really such a simple journey when you understand how it unfolds. And there's a video I did previously about how the journey unfolds. And you know what, I'm actually going to do a part 2 to that, because there's just so much I can say, man, to simplify the perspective, to make it so easy. Because that's what it is. That's what life is meant to be. It's meant to be easy. It's not meant to be this incredibly challenging life where you're just sucked of your joy all the time. And that's not to say that you can't be tested, for lack of a better term at the moment, or challenged. What I mean by challenged is you can joyfully enter a situation of difficulty and enjoy the difficulty and learn from the difficulty and have it become effortless because you're enjoying it, rather than being the person who spills their water and says, for fuck's sakes, these were my warm socks. Ah, shit, I can't believe it. This is the worst day of my life. I hate my life. Cancel, clear, all that shit. There's another practice for you too, actually, that I'm definitely going to include in this video, because becoming more aware of how you're narrating your life is essential. See, our thoughts, they're not just these puffs of air. Like, how do you explain a thought? It's intangible, right? Well, only if you're not measuring it. See, for example, when people take brain scans of others, say they set up probes on the head, we got to realize that these probes are not actually touching the physical brain. These probes are receiving a signal that's being sent out from the brain to be picked up by these receptors, by these probes. So when it comes to thinking, our thoughts are not actually these weightless, meaningless things. Every single one of them is an energetic charge. And that energetic charge, so long as we choose to attach our focus to it, can continue to build up, building a momentum towards a life we may not actually want to live. Or say we're on a great momentum towards our life, it could totally throw us off. It could start to backtrack us. It could start to take us away from the thoughts that we're supposed to be having. So we understand that the thoughts are more important. The practices, what I just did was cancel clear all that stuff that I said. See, what's happened now, if you understand as well that your consciousness and its intention actually directly affects reality. There's an example of the rice experiment. I'm sure you've probably heard about it. If you haven't, the rice experiment is such that 3 glasses were placed on a table. There was rice placed in each one with a small amount of water in each one. One glass was told every day for a month, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, you're so beautiful, you're so pure, you're so amazing, and just terms of endearment and appreciation. The middle glass was told, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, you suck, you're ugly, and everything negative. Then the glass on the far side was totally left alone. No attention to it whatsoever. And what was observed was that the glass on the left that was given terms of endearment and positivity actually began to ferment and release a wonderful odor. And it turned into this golden sort of color, almost like a golden honey. Versus the one that was hated upon, it turned black and it molded. And then the one that was completely ignored was also black and molded and actually looked worse than the one that was told that it was worthless, that it was hated and such. And the reason for that being is that if you are paying attention to something, regardless of if you're feeding it negative energy or not, you're still at least giving it the importance of your attention. But if you're just completely ignoring something, and this is another reason why so many problems can build up in our lives, if we don't seize the moment of opportunity to fulfill a responsibility or to get back to, yeah, I'll leave it at that. then we're choosing to ignore that responsibility. And then think about how you're tainting the energy of that responsibility. Because you're not just tainting that specific thing, you're tainting your perception of reality now. Because you are the jar of rice. You're showing yourself that this thing is not important enough for me to give attention to, but the only place that that can possibly occur is within yourself. Your thoughts don't come from outside of you. Well, I mean, that's another conversation, because our brains receive consciousness. But ultimately, if you understand what I'm saying, is that your thoughts can only be witnessed inside of you. All of reality is only witnessed inside of you. So, situation with my wife. It had happened before where, because I was still developing the understanding of the priority of leadership and the understanding of priority of unconditional love and self-worth, I had all of those, harmful, negative, whatever emotions. I'm going to start saying imbalancing emotions. That makes more sense to me. So I had these imbalancing emotions come up, and as well imbalancing thoughts. So this is the beautiful thing about life, right? Is it's constantly moving in the ebbs and flows. It's constantly working in that spiral where if you miss an opportunity to learn a certain lesson that your soul is here to learn, and I almost forgot to mention this, it will come back to you in a different form, or potentially even the same form, and keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until you finally pay it enough attention. So you were back to the whole attention thing. Until you paid enough attention to take responsibility for discovering the wisdom that rests within that situation, learning the lessons, and implementing a new way forward. And boy, do I have a lot of examples of how I ignored things and they turned into shit. Yeah, I'll share a bit about that in a different video, because, oh damn, we're already over our time. Whatever. So the situation had come back to me because before, I had thought all these negative thoughts, but I still made the decision to go and be with my family. But it was so challenging for me to prioritize, or it felt so challenging for me to prioritize my family's needs over work, because I had to challenge a lot of the programming that I had about, you can't communicate, you're not a leader, you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that, you're not, bullshit, basically. So because in that moment, I had to communicate with several people because of the carpooling and everything. Well, this was back when I was still getting picked up. I had to communicate with my driver. I had to communicate with my wife certain things. I had to communicate with uh, my household, my current household. I had to communicate with two other people on the job site. And so, there was a lesson in there for me to learn the responsibility of communication. Because now imagine if I did have the situation arise and I was somebody who decided to not take responsibility of communication and didn't tell the driver not to come pick me up. Well, then he would have wasted his time and the other guy's time that he drove, and effectively he would have wasted the job site's time. Imagine if I didn't communicate with my site leader that I wasn't coming in. Talk about getting fired quick. And see, it's so much easier for people to understand and still consider you reliable if you do have to take that time away from your job or whatever, if you are communicating properly, because then you're showing them that you're not just going to bail on them. That even if you are gone, they can rely on you to tell them that you will be gone. Now, I had those emotions come up, but then this situation just happened. And now the same situation has happened today, where I've now got to choose, or I had the opportunity to again choose. My wife is really sick and she needs help. Do I go home and I make a fuss about it? Or do I surrender to the currents of life, understanding that the priority is to take care of my wife and my daughter, and make that decision? Because ultimately, if I need to get another job, I'll get another job. That's not what's important to me in life. What's important to me in life is taking care of my family and taking care of the people around me. And, I guess there's a whole conversation, well, what about responsibility? And there's a huge conversation to have there, but ultimately, this is my decision. And so when it happened, I noticed that there were some frustrations that arose. Like, oh man, I'm having to call in again to this job that I've just started. This isn't good. This is very problematic. What will they think of me? Cancel. Done. No more. I stopped myself because I was able to recognize, I'm just realizing I didn't fully elaborate on the cancel clear practice. So let me finish that quick. What the cancel clear practice is a method by which you can become more aware of your thoughts, where when you understand the weight of each thought and that it does have significant importance on how your life actually plays out for you and how situations play out for you. If you notice that you're thinking negatively, you set the intention with your consciousness, like with the bowls or with the glasses of rice, to cancel the energetic charge, but not only stop it in its tracks, to clear it from your reality. Now, whether you believe that that is happening or not, it is still a great practice to have to become more aware of what thoughts are coming out of your mind. But that is what's happening. Your conscious intention is an energetic frequency, such as your thoughts, or such are your thoughts, and they're related. So, anyways, I'm not going to get super deep into that again. But today I was presented with the same opportunity, and I caught myself. And what I did, see, what happens when your programs get triggered, because this is ultimately what's happening when these negative thoughts get brought up. The beliefs that we hold about ourselves, about reality, they are an aspect of our survival system. And when the survival system is triggered, well, your body goes into fight or flight. However much of a minuscule change it might be, your body will enter fight or flight. Your body will start to produce cortisol. You'll start to have those negative thoughts. You'll start to create those negative emotions. See, because the brain, it doesn't distinguish between the first memory that you have of creating that belief versus everything else that triggers it later on in life. And this is why it's so important to get to the root cause. Where did this belief come from? What situation implemented or installed this program into my being, and then replace it from there. So anyways, the thoughts get triggered and everything, right? But with this understanding, I know that it's an aspect of my survival self that has just kicked in. So what I did was I reset my vagus nerve. I brought myself out of fight or flight to reprogram my body to show it that no, this situation is okay. It's okay that I am choosing to go and be with my family. Because think about it like this as well. If you really want to create the life of your dreams, would you be the version of you that cannot go and be with your family if you need to be? Or would you be the version of you that can go to your family when you need to be? You'd obviously choose the one that can go to your family when you need to be. And that's also extremely important for the narration of our lives. Because we write our lives in, yes, our thoughts, but also in our decisions. because it's our decisions that more greatly reinforce what programs remain and what programs we move on from and what life ultimately we live in the end. So if I were to choose a version of myself that does not prioritize my family, that is not the highest and greatest version of myself, well, then I've just chosen to say to reality that I'm not ready for the abundance. I'm not ready for the millionaire status. I'm not ready to take on the responsibility of developing a new version of human society. Cancel clear. That's what I'd be saying to reality. I don't want to say that to reality. I will not say that to reality. I will always choose what is in the highest and greatest good for me, no matter what. Because I understand my own value, you see. When you understand your own value, it's easier to make these kinds of decisions that might seem like you just can't do it. But I know that I could go and get a job somewhere else. No problem, fine. If that's what I have to do, because these people don't understand that my family is more important to me and they're not willing to play with that, well, fine. I will find somewhere else. And then you might have this argument of people pop up saying, oh, well, you might not find another place because no job is going to do. No, you have a limitation in your perception of reality, my friend. We create our realities completely. Completely. It's not just that, like, okay, here's an example. I never would have been able to manifest being the host of the Om Circle if I was thinking so negatively about myself all of the time. See, there was a certain energetic charge that I had to build up about my own value to be the guy who went and sat in the middle of a field by himself to do live meditations on Instagram, which inevitably, because I believed in myself, because I knew of my own value, because there's a big difference between believing and knowing, because I knew of my own value, because I knew I could change people's lives, because I knew who I wanted to be. I wanted to be a leader that could show people the way. I had to go and do it, man. So, and this is an instance of manifesting a new job for myself. I had absolutely, it's so wild. See, reality constructs itself as you move through it, like a video game does. It doesn't render the entire video game all at once. It only renders what the senses of the character need to perceive in the moment in order to make the game seem like it's fluidly always intact as you move about it. I wish I remembered the physicist's name. Oh, come on. I can freaking picture him, man. Is it Tom McDonald? No, that's the rapper, isn't it? Tom McDonald. I think he might have the same name. I'll try to. I'll remember him and I'll put him in the description later. But he's a brilliant physicist who will explain this much better than I could about how reality actually renders itself. So I mean, just think about the efficiency of it. Does it make sense? Because you are the creator of your own reality. We're all having our own unique experiences of existence. Does it make sense that if the universe is experiencing me right now, that it needs to render all of the rest of reality for me to perceive, even though I'm not over to where the end of the galaxy is to perceive that? No. Anyhow, getting real deep here. So, I started doing those meditations, believing in myself that something was going to work out for me. And inevitably, word got around as more people came that the meditations were so profound that a brand new holistic clinic, naturopathic healing clinic, what you could call a superhuman protocol clinic, reached out to me to have me come and host my meditations at their facility. Now, if I wasn't making the choices to believe in myself, to know of my own value, and putting in the action required to show that that's actually true, if I wasn't doing that, then that aspect of reality could not have rendered for me. It would have been impossible for me to know about them unless I was taking certain actions that aligned with that possibility, you see. So when it comes to manifesting a job based on your own value, it's 100% possible, because what's funny is that place actually turned into a different job for me. That's a story for another time, though. But there you go. We narrate through our decisions and, of course, through the thoughts that we have. But the unconscious script that's always running in the background are those beliefs we have about ourselves, the beliefs we have about reality that were instilled, more like inculcated, between the ages of 0 and 7. Ultimately, actually, even before you were born, you were being programmed with beliefs. I touched on this in another video. I'm not going to get super deep into it. I'll probably make an independent video for this too, because it is a huge topic as well. But you also have the unconscious script playing out. See, what your beliefs do is they create behaviors, unconscious behaviors, ways that you speak, ways that you stand, ways that you pick things up. See, because everything, it's all stored within our subconscious, below our awareness, inside of our bodies. Our bodies are our subconscious. And this is why self-realization, this is why I love this, man, because it's the ultimate freedom. This is why I love helping people discover themselves and what's made them who they are and what habits they have that they don't see, how they're speaking to themselves in negative ways and placing spells on themselves, essentially, of limitation that they just cannot seem to overcome. But once the light is shone upon those programs, they're no longer subconscious, they're no longer below awareness. They're in fact now conscious habits or choices that you are making. And this is the beautiful thing about it. It's so simple, guys. All of the difficulties that we have in our lives come back to a certain belief that we have about ourselves that is limiting what we believe or what we know to be the possibility for who we can be. And that we can actually go out and achieve it. It all comes back to our subconscious beliefs. And as soon as you become aware of what the belief is and what habits that belief has created, it becomes a choice for you to continue to live that way. And how easy is it to just say no instead of saying yes? With the proper tools, it's very easy. But if you're not doing it the proper way, yes, then it can create a lot more difficulty. You need to go into the theta brainwave state to reprogram your subconscious mind. If you're just going to go against it in the regular brainwave states, then you're going to be essentially David to Goliath, but with no arms and no legs, and 20 inches and 20 inches shorter. You'll get squashed every time. So we must also rewrite the unconscious script, the subconscious programs, because those are also generating certain thoughts. It's not that the situation has attached to it, the external situation has attached to it a grouping of thoughts. It's like the story of the two people who go into a conference of some kind. Each will have a totally unique experience. One may absolutely hate it, one may absolutely love it. And this is how our subconscious programs play out for us, right? Is depending on the attachments that you have to reality, you may spill your water bag and be absolutely pissed off because that actually relates to something else. Well, oh, I just made a mistake, which means that, oh, I must not be good enough because now I'm not perfect. Then you realize, whoa, spilling the water bag has nothing to do with spilling a water bag. It has to do with it triggering this program that I have that tells me that I'm not good enough, activating my survival self. Whoa, now all of a sudden, you get to go in and figure out, well, what specific example of that's happened in my life is relating to this knocking over the water incident? And that's it, man. That's it. You go in and you reprogram it. It's that simple. And if you want to do a true deep dive, I do one-on-one theta healing sessions. You can find a link to it in the description. And we can go for an hour or however long, exploring your unique subconscious blueprint or labyrinth, and uncover so much. And the change is instantaneous. You'll feel after the session so much lighter. I love theta healing. I honestly think it's the best healing modality I've ever discovered. I'm not sure, because you can do everything from the theta brainwave state. You can do Reiki. You can do all kinds of energy healings. You can literally basically send a probe of consciousness into the body to see where different ailments may be, or where, yeah, it's just amazing. I'm not going to go too long because there's already a 40-minute video here. But anyways, if you want to explore the true depths of your subconscious and get a feel for how it works, and then be able to take that framework and then utilize it for yourself afterwards in your own meditations, you're absolutely welcome to, and I'd love to work with you. Link is in the description. So I think we covered it all. You know, that you get to choose your script of life. And think about it like this as well. Or you can, I shouldn't tell you what to do. You can think about it like this as well. In the moment where I had the opportunity to speak in a way that was not kind about a former coworker, what example does that set to the others as well? Like, of course, we did touch on how the conversation changed. But see, when that happens, if the people in the vicinity are used to conversations being ones of gossip and of negative talk, well, now they've just been presented with another choice. Because if they're programmed to perceive reality through that lens, never knowing that there's another opportunity or that there's another choice, now they've been presented with another choice, and you effectively have just changed the entire trajectory of their life, because now they're given another level of the game which they can now tap into because they're aware of it. So how are you speaking about others? It is the same way that you are speaking about yourself. And if you're having difficulty changing how you're speaking about yourself, start to speak more highly of others, no matter who it is. And watch that will actually activate more positive thoughts about you. Then we've got changing the narrative of situations in your life where something may happen. And when something does happen that takes you out of imbalance, for the love of yourself, reset your nervous system and pull yourself out of fight or flight. You're going to show your body that you are safe and that you can choose differently in this moment. You don't have to obey the programs, that your free will is more powerful than the programs. And then you have the unconscious script, which are the subconscious programs playing out, creating different thoughts, creating different habits, which takes the strongest of us, brothers, the strongest, to go in to the depths of what is within ourselves and to reprogram it. It is not a journey for the weak. It is for the bravest among us. And yes, I'm saying that it's easy. And yes, it is easy. But going through the process, if you're not familiar with it, can be very difficult if you're doing it all alone. Trust me, I tried doing it that way, and I suffered a lot because of it. A lot, man. Oh boy. I had you know what, I'll speak about that in another video. But anyways, guys, now you know how we narrate our realities, or at least 3 ways in which we narrate our realities. Because of course it comes down to every choice you make narrates your reality, as we were talking about. The food you eat, do you exercise, do you meditate? What choices are you making towards the greatest version of yourself, and are you making those choices? Because that is the ultimate narration, is the choices. With that being said, I'm sure that you already know, I love you guys with my entire heart. This is why I make those videos, is because I understand within myself as an infinite possibility, and I see within every single human being, within all the men who are ready to become leaders to help us change our world. We need you guys. I see your infinite possibility. I don't see what you've been through. I don't see the bad choices you make. I don't see the people you've hurt. I don't see all of that shit, man. Yes, I see it. But I know that behind that is the real you, is the real person trying to figure out life, trying to do the right thing. That's what I see. I see the love you want to share. I see the gift that you have. And it's time for you to bring that into reality, my friend. There's no more time to lose. If you're as aware as I am of what's going on in the world, you understand that every second we waste living in their bullshit programming is not worth it, and it's contributing to their mission. And if you don't know what I mean by their mission and them, well, we'll have another conversation another time. So I hope you have yourself the best day of your life today. And if you want to improve your life real quick, search up Brad Yates' Amazing Day. Punch that in first thing in the morning. Cancel clear. Punch that first thing as you rise. Give yourself a tap session of Amazing Day, or just at any time in the day. Watch things unfold differently for you, my friend. Start off with a ThetaHealing meditation. Start off with the Divine Timeline Alignment meditation. That is some powerful stuff. I do that every single day. And I feel it. The synchronicities that come to me, it's just amazing what its possibility can be for each one of us. Anyways, without lengthening this goodbye any further, God, I just love talking to you guys. Ciao.